This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield.
Stuff went numb that shouldn't go numb, you know what I'm saying? I was like, what is going on?
No, I don't.
No, you don't.
And co-host Marney Winfield.
It was kind of an awkward thing. He's like, would you guys want to come along? Can you get away to come to the island? I'm like, yeah, we just got back from there.
It is the 24th of August, 2022. My name's Corey Winfield.
My name's Marney Winfield.
Welcome, 217 Recovery Podcast. This is Tuesday episode, but it's Wednesday.
Tricked ya.
I took a sick day yesterday, so that's what's up. Took a CP day. Mm-hmm. But today is a big day. Of course, tomorrow show that's gonna be a big day too, as Marnie and I tell the story of how we met. Or wait, no.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
What was that?
Oh, it's magic.
What?
So I deferred to you and said you can pick today or Thursday to tell which one. Like if you want to tell your story today, or if you want me to tell my story today on how we met, and then we'll compare the two.
Okay, and compare the two.
Yeah, because I'm sure they're different. They're the same, but probably different.
Okay.
But just like from your point of view and my point of view.
Okay.
So who's going first?
I can go first.
Oh.
What, you want me to? You want to
Yeah.
go?
No.
You sounded disappointed.
No, I was like, oh, like this, I can't wait. Okay, so yeah.
Okay.
There you go, the official.
So we get asked this quite often, actually. Let's see here. We're coming up on an anniversary in December again. So, but the whole, like, if you want the elongated version or just kind of like how we met.
It's your time.
To me, it's my story time.
I'm going to mute my microphone.
story
I'm not
time.
going to butt in, nothing.
Okay.
No sound effects, nothing.
Okay. So I always kind of like start off with a giggle. It just happens. I don't practice to do that. It works out that way because majority of the people that ask obviously know me well enough and like where I'm at right now in my life and that kind of stuff. So I'm always like, well, it's kind of a funny story. And I always premise it with, we are the exception to the rule. And I'll tell you what that means. And so I actually, and then I just do the shocker, I actually met Corey while I was in rehab. Right? So the follow-up to that is, no, we were both not in rehab together. P.S. That is a terrible idea. When you're in treatment, you really should be focusing on treatment 100%. And I did do that. That's what I was doing. I had been in a emotionally and physically abusive relationship for about 10 years prior to me actually making the decision to go to treatment for myself. And that relationship had long since been kind of fizzled out, but I had always like gone back for whatever reasons. And this time I had been done. I was done. But I realized that I needed to be like healthy for me. And there was a lot of stuff that I needed to kind of go through and figure out and deal with to be able to be 100% whole again. And that's the only way that I'll be able to stay clean and sober. So when I went into my last treatment center, that's what I was doing. It was on my terms. It was completely 100% for me. Not because of my parents, not because of a job, not because of an ex or the law, which were all reasons before in my life. And so that was my plan. And so I went in, and the original, intake, they give you an idea of what, their curriculum is. And usually it's about 28 days. And I was like, well, let's just see what happens. I'm in this like 100%. So let's kind of just go with, let's not make plans yet. And so I did. And I kind of kept to myself while I was in treatment. And it's not that I don't like other people, I do, but I needed to learn about myself, and I needed to listen to what they had to say, and I needed to listen to other people and take the advice of, my counselor and the facilitators of the groups, and take it seriously and do some real soul searching and journaling and focus, really. It wasn't like I was a wallflower or anything. I still interacted with people. But then this one day, this handsome new behavioral tech started working, and I just noticed him because he had absolutely gorgeous eyes and beautiful smile, and he was funny as hell. And I kind of just I did listen to a lot of people and a lot of conversations and stuff that people would have. And a lot of people are just there not for the right reasons. And it just made me irritated. It made me mad. But I just had to remind myself that, I was there for me and just, stay focused. And so, I interacted. Am I supposed to say this in like you're not here or something? Yes, I interacted with him, just like a normal client would, for the most part. Like, lots of times the techs would play card games and stuff during our free time. He's a shit talker. I thought that was kind of funny and amusing. But he had a lot of good things to say about, being in recovery, and he never, pretended to know it all. I thought that was awesome. He identified with being exactly where he was in his recovery, and I respected that. And anyway, I just thought he was a cool guy. And one thing that I listened to what he said was, you got to stick with the winners. Well, that advice made me super nervous, because really the only people that I had in my life were people that were unhealthy for me. The only people that I really knew were people that I partied with, and then make it even less is up here up north. All I had been doing is living with my mother, and just my last years of drinking were just literally me in the bottle. So I didn't even have those people, which I guess was a good thing, because I was gonna do exactly what they said, and new people, new places, new things, all of it. Get rid of the old people, get rid of the old things, get rid of everything, and start new, start fresh. And so that's what I was going to do. And I'm like, if I'm going to start fresh and with healthy people, where am I going to find those people? Well, of course, meetings, right? And I had gotten some numbers from people, but then again, I was super picky about, there was a lot of people that gave me numbers, women, they gave me numbers that said, call me after, whatever. And I knew they weren't in it to win it. I'm like, why? Not saying I'm wasting my time, but it's like, and by the time I had actually discharged which I got extension after extension after extension, there was people that had literally come back to treatment in the time that I had extensions. Like, they had gone through their 30 days, gone out of treatment into the world, relapsed, and come back into treatment, and I was still there. And they're like, what are you still doing here? And I'm like, I'm getting better. Like, I'm not judging them. I'm just saying that's what I'm still here for, This isn't a race. It's not like you win if you get out the earliest. So I ended up staying about 60 days. And when I got out, it was kind of like, do I go to sober living? Because I had been to sober living before. And I'm like, if I really am going to take this advice and do things differently this time, maybe I don't need sober living. I know what the experience is about, and I know what it has to offer, but let me kind of think outside the box. Like, how else can I approach this? Well, I knew 100% my mom was like the safest thing for me. She would bend over backwards to make the safest environment possible for me to be in. If I told her, get every drop of alcohol, including your cooking wine, out of this house so I can live here, she would have done that. And in fact, I think she probably did. I think she ended up hiding all of whatever her party bottles were in a box in the corner of the basement or something that she had forgotten about. But and I knew it was a safe decision to stay with her and just get my bearings in the world and go to meetings and start at a job which I chose to work in, in the world of recovery. And so that's how I got lined up with the agency here in Traverse City. And I was commuting from my mom's house in Sutton's Bay to here. I didn't have a car yet because I didn't have any money. So I was borrowing her car and paying her for it monthly, for gas or whatever. And I mean, she made me work for it. So at one point, and meanwhile, I had like been so in my addiction for so long, like I was almost like living off the grid, right? So I'm in my room one night at my mom's house and I'm like, all right, I'm remembering what this man said at treatment. And he's like, stick with the winners, go to meetings. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to some meetings. What meetings should I go to? I don't even know. Like, where are my peeps at from the treatment center I was at? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I will look them up on Facebook. So I looked him up on Facebook and can you remember what I said? Probably, would you want to go to a meeting sometime or something? And I think I got shot down. And he was fighting his inner demons of ethical and moral boundaries of him in the position that he had and the fact that I was a previous client and whatever. And I'm like, dude, I'm not asking to date you. I'm just asking if you want to go to a meeting. Even though I really thought he was super hot and, funny and would make a great husband, but I didn't share that with him, obviously, at the time. No, I really did. I actually thought he was involved with somebody else at the time. But I was like, you told me to reach out, so here I am, or what other meetings people go to. I asked him about, I think, recovery notes, if people went to that, all kinds of things. And yeah, he told me no. And then I did comment on his pictures being, he was a good looking guy in his pictures. And then he was like, don't you have a boyfriend? And I was like, what is he talking about? Like, what? I mean, where would he get that? And then come to find out, I had not changed my Facebook status or any of the pictures that were posted on there since I don't even know how many years it was. 10 plus years. And 11 years, maybe, I hadn't posted on there. But I had my status is being in a relationship. So I was totally just appalled at myself. And I was like, let me fix that real quick. Yeah, no, that's not even the case at all. And, so he ended up finally saying yes, twisting his arm. And he came to Sutton's Bay, where my mom lives. And we went to a meeting. And, I mean, I kind of knew it was going to be a date. But, I didn't have any expectations or anything. It's not like I was shooting for anything. It just was like, maybe maybe he would consider this a date. I don't know. I don't really know what his deal is. Maybe I'll find out about what his deal is. And I think that's when I kind of Q&A'd him about where he was with his dating and da-da-da. And he said, talking to some people or whatever. And I'm like, yeah. And that made me angry. I'm like, why are you mad? You must like this guy. So, yeah, and then it just kind of blossomed, and there were some ups and downs. I mean, I can tell my part of that if you want, but it became romantic, probably faster than we maybe had expected it to, but it was healthy, and we definitely were communicated about what we expected of each other, and what we were prepared for, and how the number one thing in both of our lives was our recovery. And, that was so extremely important to me. And there's no way that I was going to go back to, anything that was old, other than my healthy family. Everything else was just out of my life completely. And I was feeling really good about it. And I also knew about the warning signs of feeling really good about things. Like that can put you in a really bad place because you're all pink cloudy and like everything's amazing. And then you lose your footings on what you're doing. Especially when I was making money. I mean, all the things that are good that when people say that's when they relapse, like I was making money. I had, I was getting, enough money for a car. But I was still making good decisions. Like I was like, nope, Mom, I'm going to borrow, your piece of junk friggin' Ranger truck or whatever and pay you for it to get to where I need to go to until I, can do things on my own and save money for my own place and, do it right this time. That was my biggest thing. And so, it ended up things transpired that brought us closer. Things transpired that could have broken us up.
We can talk about that on Saturday.
But
because we'll come together with both of our
Oh,
stories
okay.
and then kind of go from.
So okay, that sounds good.
I think that would be a good idea.
Okay, was I pretty accurate? I mean, you can't really say a lot of that was not right because
We'll
it
have to
was
find
my
out on
it was my
tomorrow's
story.
episode. Yeah, that's how your version went.
Oh Lord, now I'm scared.
I go, of course, when I tell stories, I go into more detail.
Yeah,
Color shirt I was wearing.
it was blue. I matched his eyes.
See, you didn't say that.
Well,
I'm just saying. My story might be a little bit more sound effects, a little more voices.
I'm sure,
I don't know.
Sure, it will be. See, I'm glad I went first.
Yeah, me too.
But no, I mean, it's one of those things where people will be like, "You're so lucky that you found Corey and that you have a healthy relationship and you guys are both in recovery." Like, that's what if I just had that, if I could just find somebody else in recovery, and we didn't plan this, people. No. Like, it's not like I was trolling for a freaking husband at rehab. Please.
All right, that was
the last place I was looking for any sort of relationship.
Yeah.
Like, not there, not with the clients, not with the people that work there, not with the lunch crew, not with the delivery people. It's just not. You need to be on your game, and and worry about you and yourself and your recovery. And that's what I was doing. God just put you in my path, and I went with it. So
yeah, God had a hand in it for sure.
Oh yeah,
as we'll explain on Saturday. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was good. That was your side, and it's interesting. And I'm sure people have been wondering how we met. We're both in recovery. Isn't that a no-no? And now they kind of know. And as far as that being a no-no, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I couldn't see myself with anyone who wasn't in recovery because it's not fair to them. And that's just me. And I'm not saying run out to the first AA or NA meeting or celebrate recovery meeting and start looking for your baby mama. It doesn't work that way.
No.
But just me personally, I don't think that I could be with somebody who would have a bottle of wine in the fridge because one day I could drink it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I could go down to the store and buy it too. But one of those days where, the state of Michigan and DHHS is pissing me off and I'm like, and I go get a sandwich and I'm like, well, it's right there. I don't want that temptation, and that's not fair to someone who doesn't have the same problem. So for me, I just don't see myself with anyone else, but that's just me. There are people that can do that and that people that do that and have been still married. Like if you're married, you're not going to leave your wife or your husband, just because they can drink a beer on the weekend, like you're not going to be like, oh, well, this 20-year marriage is over.
Right.
I mean, it might already be over because of the drinking, but I'm just saying, like, if you're in a relationship now, don't throw that away and don't expect other people to change for you because that's not fair. That's not fair to you. It's not fair to them, to tell them you got to dump out all the alcohol in the house. They don't have to do anything. They might even have a problem with it. They might be just as pain in the ass as you are, and they just don't want help yet. Again, can't do nothing about that. You can tell them that you're going to change your life and maybe throw some suggestions about I'm leaving, or maybe you need to come up with your half of the rent. I don't know how you'd say that to somebody, but the number one thing is you got to look out for you. And that's something that you and I both did. So, that kind of makes it, I guess, not different. I mean, people do this all the time too, but you were secure in yours and I was secure in mine. And the only way I can help you with your sobriety is by being sober myself, and that's it. That's all I can do. You can leave right after we get done with this podcast and go to the store if you want.
Well, I can't because I got something else to do.
I could, though.
You could.
But I don't, and you choose not to as well. I can't make you be sober.
Yeah.
But we're living life, and this is something that we've never really done before. And we're not just, because you had 2 years sobriety before, but it was, I'm sure, way different.
It was not even fair to even try to compare it.
Yeah, that's just being a dry drunk, I guess.
It was literally a countdown.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, and that's why I feel so, that's why I get so, like, I don't know, disheartened when I talk to people that, like, are staying, sober for their program. I'm like, can you try to embrace it? Like, give it a chance for real. Like, I know you're doing it because you have to do it, but while you're doing it because you have to do it, why don't you do it to see what it's like to, like, want to do it and figure out what all these reasons are why you did it. Then make it make sense, and then maybe it's something that will come naturally. And I don't know. It's just one of those little things that I think about a lot. And would I go back and say I wish I could change things in my past? I mean, in a way, obviously, I think anybody who's been through what we've been through wants to say I wish I wouldn't have had to go through that to get to where I am now. But I'm not going to question God and his reasons for why he does what he does, because I wouldn't be here right now. If things didn't happen like they happened, I might be alive. I might not be. I mean, I wouldn't be sitting here with you, So, and that's there's so many blessings in my life now. Today, when I was in my orientation for my school, for graduate school, as I'm driving in, I literally had like a semi-panic attack because the last time that I had gone to classes in that building, I was literally 1 foot in a relapse, and I didn't have a driver's license. I had to get driven by somebody who was in my same cohort, and this was in 2008, actually. I had 1 foot in a relapse, and I was had a ride in to go and tell my instructor that I was withdrawing from classes because, I was basically, I couldn't keep up with the schoolwork. And here I was again, driving my own car, wearing a 217 podcast shirt, on my way to complete my graduate degree. And it's just like, it was like deja vu, but like in a way better place. So,
yeah,
it's just amazing to see how much has changed.
Sure, it feels good. I know it feels good for me being on this side of it too. And I'm proud of you for going back and doing all that. I know you're super busy, but it'll pay off one day. And just like everything you did 6 months ago,
yeah,
and everything you did a year ago, they add up. And a saying that I use many times is that saying that was on the radio station, Glass, is just a little bit better today than yesterday. That's all you need to be. Just a little bit better today than yesterday. And over a year, over 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, that's a lot better. Mm-hmm. It really is. And that's what I think helped me move forward this time. And there's two different types of people too. Well, there's probably more, but at least when it comes to being on probation. And I hear it often. It's I'll be off in June. What, would you get, a year? Yeah, I got a year. I'll be off in June. Oh, okay. And then I hear I get my 1 year coin in June. Oh, hell yeah, man. That's cool. Yep, I'll have my 1 year. I've never had a year before, and then they'll start going into that. And then I'm like, well, you're on paper? Oh, okay. When you're off probation in June. Oh, but you get your 1 year. Yeah. They're more focused on the 1 year. Mm-hmm. And you get some bullshitters kind of mixed in too, but the people that are focused on getting that 1 year getting that time, to me, it just feels better, like they have a better shot, to me, than opposed to counting down the clock of when will I be off probation? When can I go drink again? When can I go do that? Because this is hindering my lifestyle and this sucks. That kind of attitude of, why can't I drink anymore? I just got my 3rd DUI. Who cares? It's just bad luck. I don't have a problem. And that's a tough thing, because if they would just be real and admit, and not everybody that gets a DUI has a problem.
Right.
And that is sometimes bad luck. But when you continue to do it, to think, oh, well, yeah, I'm fine to drive. You're probably already drunk. Obviously you are, because you got your 3rd DUI. And that's what we do, is we make bad decisions when we drink. Mm-hmm. I was talking with a guy today about the opioid crisis and all this and that. And I was like, yeah, I'm tired of people blaming the doctors. And I do, but do I get to blame Jack Daniels or Anheuser-Busch or, do I get to blame those people for my problem? No. It's my fault because I didn't drink responsibly. And if you work closely with your doctor, and there's some shitty doctors out there that don't care and they just write scripts and who cares. But if you work closely with your doctor, the doctors can help you with those pills. There are people in pain that need those, and to just label them as all doctors are bad, it's the doctor's fault. The doctor shouldn't be writing. No, they shouldn't be doing. Maybe they should be working closer with you, and maybe you should be more honest with your doctor. And the people, I think, are afraid to be honest with their doctor. And sometimes I am, but I kind of do it anyway for the most part. I don't know if anyone's 100% completely honest with their doctor, but it helps. And to just, especially when it comes to medication, like, hey, this is how I'm feeling, and this is what's happening. I think it can go a long way, but sometimes I'm made to feel like I'm pill seeking, when really I just want the pain to kind of go away and some help there. And I don't know, it just sucks. But again, whose fault is it? I don't know. But when there's a problem and you can see it's a problem, just be honest and upfront with it. And it doesn't matter if you're using meth. Well, if you're using meth, you should really go seek help, because you have a problem. Mm-hmm. The first time you do it, you have a problem. So that's my advice. If you ever use meth, just go to treatment immediately. You're never going to get that high again, and you're going to keep chasing it, and you're going to do things that you thought you would never have done, and you're going to look like shit. You're not getting skinnier. Don't post those on Facebook. You're just throwing up red flags for everybody. So we do have to wrap this up, though. I know I would love to sit here and do voices all night, but but no, that your story was cute, though, and I'm sure people were wanting to hear that, and you'll hear my version of how we met tomorrow.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
272recovery.com for resources, more info, and Marney's video, Adam's video, Tyrone's video, and Justin's video. Watch them all. They're also on the app.
Thanks for listening to the 217 Recovery Podcast. We hope you come back for our next episode.